Tzu Chi volunteers help repair an old leaky home in Keelung for an elderly lady who was injured in a fire. Pandemic prevents exports of secondhand clothes from Taiwan, causing stockpiles to rise quite dramatically. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. 67-year-old Miss Chen was unable to work after being injured in a fire many years ago. Although she survived, she was severely injured and was forced to later return to her hometown of Keelung to live alone. The house that she inhabited unfortunately leaks whenever it rains. This made her living conditions quite uncomfortable. Tzu Chi was contacted about her plight and after paying a visit immediately carried out half a month of renovation work on her house. This gave her a comfortable home to live in once again. Here's more.
天棚拢换过来，迄拢大家好势。我即马风台来做风台来，我做放心，从内心哦，迄个感恩啦。
This 50-year-old house was there after another covering the roof, which still cannot stop the wind and rain from coming in.
The roof was made of wooden beams covered with wooden boards and black paper, and then covered with a plastic. After the plastic board was covered, it leaked again. It's been a long time since the roof was repaired because the iron plates we removed were completely rotten, so the water leakage was very serious.
The professional master found the cause of the long-term water leakage in Miss Chen's house and immediately helped to repair.
After everyone worked together, it was complete. She's also very happy. She can rest assured.
After half a month of repairs, Miss Chen's original leaking home has a new look. On the day of moving in, volunteers also come to help clean up.
These Tzu Chi brothers and sisters are very nice and care about me. They are very serious in their work, so I feel at ease. It really touched me. They put so much effort in.
She also made a vow to join Tzu Chi because she had undergone cataract surgery and had not yet removed the stitches. She was unable to attend the class in May. Then it's now the pandemic lockdown. She said that when the class is available in the future, she is willing to go.
Ms. Chen made agreement with the volunteers, hoping to give her strength to help more people in need in the future.
In Beijing, an 11-year-old boy, Xing suffers from lymphona. In 2020, his family moved from Shandong to Beijing for his treatment of his condition. It was a difficult move. The family had little choice but to seek out better medical care. Upon learning of this family's situation, Tzu Chi started making monthly home visits. The boy's father was deeply moved by this action and later took the initiative to volunteer at the Children's Hospital to repay Tzu Chi's help.
The life of this family has been changed since last year when a group of volunteers walked in.
His mouth was completely ulcerated and a piece of his tongue was ulcerated, but after applying the medicine, it healed very quickly.
The toy in front of him makes the child forget the pain. This group of volunteers are mostly mothers who know children's hearts best. On this day, a young volunteer participated in a regular monthly visit. The gifts brought are all kinds.
There are two things in the world that cannot wait. One is filial piety and the other is doing good deeds.
你这两个事儿做到了没有？你说说怎么做到的？怎么孝顺的？
Guo Lei's father has been a volunteer in the children's hospital for a long time.
也想为其他的孩子去付出一点，然后
I also want to contribute my efforts for other children. It seems like you help me and I help others. I felt relieved while helping others. When I help others, I have nothing to worry about.
就是给别人帮忙的时候，烦恼什么也没有了。
你看3月3号到现在就360了。你现在就是一个亮着的灯，照亮了很多人，照亮了很多人，对啊。所以呢，就给他们放了一些哭了，给救了。
The hot lamp here is getting brighter. The love inside is also continuously heating up.
The pandemic in Hong Kong has stabilized recently. This has led local Tzu Chi volunteers to hold Buddha Day ceremonies and fanling in Kowloon. Everyone came together and prayed sincerely, hoping that the pandemic will end soon. Take a look.
The 8th day of the 4th lunar month is the Buddha's birthday. Hong Kong Tzu Chi volunteers held the Buddha Day ceremony in the outlying area of Fanling. Most of the participants were elderly people.
Many of our elders live alone or live with their other half without children. A lot of residents in this area have never joined the Buddha Day ceremony before, and it's the first time for many of them to join. Our elders are all very happy.
In addition to the Buddha Day ceremony, volunteers were also worried that the elders are inconvenienced when going out to buy supplies during the pandemic, so they especially prepared care packages for the elders.
There are 200 care packages to be given to the senior citizens in the Keelung Community Association. As the pandemic is so serious now, we hope it will end soon and everyone stays safe and auspicious.
The solemn atmosphere of the Buddha Day ceremony also appeared on the same day in this community in Kowloon. Strictly observing anti-epidemic measures, volunteers invited residents to pray together, sending out their blessings to the entire world.
Currently, the pandemic is so serious. Hopefully, through the Buddha Day ceremony, the pandemic can be eased soon.
In the community, many elders with mobility issues cannot go out. Volunteers brought the mobile altar to their homes so that the elders could also share the Buddha's grace.
Tzu Chi brothers and sisters are really very considerate, knowing that it's inconvenient for me to move. They especially brought the mobile Buddha altar to visit me. I felt very happy.
After having the Buddha Day ceremony, I feel more spirited. At least, I won't feel so lonely anymore.
Under the pandemic, the Buddha Day ceremony was smaller scaled, yet still solemn. Everyone gathered sincerely, hoping that all of us will be safe and the pandemic will stay away.
The pandemic has caused havoc for imports and exports, even affecting Taiwan's overseas shipment of secondhand clothing. Furthermore, people who stay at home now have more opportunities for online shopping, and many are stockpiling new clothes, which is worsening the potential problem that excess clothing may cause. An additional worry is that many workers are reluctant to process secondhand clothes due to COVID-19 concerns, making the sorting and disposal of secondhand clothes in Taiwan even more difficult. Here's more.
Now that more people have time to stay at home, are you like Miss Wu and determined to do some housework?
I use this time to sort out the clothes I don't need at home. These 2 bags are ready to be recycled.
All unnecessary clothes are packed and sent to the old clothes recycling bin. When the box is full, it is piled on the ground. Looking carefully, there are coats, overcoats, and sweaters. This is all winter clothing. During the pandemic prevention period, there is a fear that old clothes might be infected with the virus, leading the recycling industry to post a notice refusing the acceptance of old clothes. However, some people still ignore the notice.
This makes it impossible for us not to collect it. And because when we don't collect it, the Department of Environmental Protection keeps calling us to say that we must clear out the old clothes by the bins. Because of the epidemic, some of our employees don't want to come to work because they are afraid there's a lot of bacteria in these used clothes.
Since the outbreak of the pandemic, the amount of old clothes recycled have exploded. In this 3,000 square meter factory in Wugu District, New Taipei City, these old clothes are piled to the ceiling. Most of the recycled old clothes cannot be exported because the ports of importing countries are closed and the cost of flights is soaring. In the end, they are treated like garbage, which costs money to be disposed of.
Early on, when we collected these clothes, 30% was rubbish and 70% can be reused. Now only 30% can be reused and 70% is rubbish.
We all think it's out of our hands when we get rid of it. The bulk is sent abroad, so we don't put a lot of effort into understanding the current dynamics and flow of second-hand clothing and where it goes.
Due to the pandemic, old clothes have become yet another source of environmental pollution. If this problem is not taken seriously, these mountains of clothes will sooner or later become a heavy burden for the earth.
TEAMA is a team of volunteer doctors who travel wherever medical help is needed. During their many free clinics, they have met many unique patients around the globe. One such individual is 41-year-old Wu Sungfu, who is obese and weighs 280 kilograms. This means that he can't fit into any clothes. Even worse is the fact that much of his body is covered by painful psoriasis. Through Tzu Chi's help, he was able to treat his skin condition, regain his health, and hope in life.
Putting on their white coats, these doctors are ready to start their weekend. Giving up their weekend, this is without pay. They are here to check on patients who have difficulty leaving the house. The arrival of TEAMA members has brought a smile to care recipient Lin Zhirong's face. His mobility problem and sickness has burdened the family's financial budget and health.
This care recipient had a stroke and his two daughters were taking care of him. But they started working, so they asked their uncle, his younger brother, to help. Now both caretaker and recipient have health problems.
Lin is a regular TEAMA free clinic patient, where Tzu Chi not only sends doctors to his house to check on his condition, but also provides financial help. What's more is that Tzu Chi volunteers also tend to his emotional and mental health. His daughter's leaving has hindered his physical health, as he's lost his motivation. The volunteer's promise to talk to his daughters has given Lin hope, and he's agreed to restart his rehabilitation in the hopes of reconciliation with his daughters. In 1966, Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation was established, and during the visitation with care recipients, they discovered the vicious cycle of poverty and sickness. Since 1972, when the first free clinic site was formed at number 28 Ren'ai Street in Hualien City, and now nearly 50 years since the establishment of TEAMA, medical doctors have been treating patients with humanitarian care.
The Master has a Dharma phrase, which is, if those who are suffering difficulties cannot reach us, then the blessed must go to them. This is why those doctors in private practices in all areas domestically would use their day off to care for those suffering in remote regions, helping to alleviate suffering.
From medical aid for the poor to TEAMA's global free clinics, first the volunteers conduct a visit, then the medical volunteers follow. Tzu Chi's medical care with humanitarianism is very unique to the organization. Among their many care recipients, unbelievable cases are often found. Wu Shengfu weighed 280 kilograms. This weight is 4 or 5 times the average person. He doesn't leave his home nor are able to work, and is plagued by chronic diseases. Tzu Chi volunteers care for him and present him with homemade clothes to fit his stature.
When we first visited him, he would just cover himself up in a bedsheet.
He's so happy to be able to wear the handmade clothes by the volunteers. Now he can tackle the problem with his weight.
When I was young, I was already 90 kilograms. Whatever I wanted to eat, my grandfather would buy it for me to eat and continue to spoil me with food.
With the help of Tima members, Wu can finally see hope in life once more.
这个真的苦恼很久，后面背这边
好，姐你看整片，对。
我刚开始是从这边，
对，
就开始蔓延，那时候没有注意它，想说自己擦药。
The doctor's first help is psoriasis, and next is his weight problem. Tzu Chi volunteers provided healthy lunch options for him to help him lose weight. After a few months, when the weight slowly came off, Wu began to believe he had a future again.
慢慢来哦。
Wu holds hands with his girlfriend and takes a walk around the block. This activity may be really common for other couples, but he had been stuck inside his home for 6 years before the weight loss.
其实他害怕，我比他更害怕。
Actually, he's scared, but I'm more scared for him. He said, I finally breathed in fresh outside air. I'm thankful to the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters who have always cared for him and helped him be brave.
After half a year, Wu's weight dropped from 280 to 204 kilograms, and now he can make a joke about his weight.
你快要接近我跟你认识的那个感觉了，我就刚刚这样讲。
什么感觉不好说啊。
The road of weight loss continues for Wu. No matter the size of the free clinic or the location, wherever they are needed, the team of members are sure to go.
海啸进来啊，再返回去那些断。
When the tsunami hit, it broke the bridge that was their main road in and out of the village. That smell was unbearable because the dead were all buried underneath the broken bridge, and that smell lingered for many weeks.
At the site of disasters, scenes of devastation are not a deterrent to their determination to help the needy and the sick.
那人力会呢，跟慈善呢？
Tima and Tzu Chi's charity are partners in crime. Wherever there is a disaster, the volunteers will go care for those affected, and the medical volunteers follow. When working together, we can help these survivors rebuild quickly.
能够很快的恢复起来。
就是没办法弄回去，
没有办法把它送回去啊。那每次一整完啊，其实
Every time I completed a free clinic, I feel so joyful because I had the chance to serve them.
为他们服务，他付出。
They give without asking for a return, but when the patients express their gratitude, in just the look on their face, it is all the reward and payment these doctors need.
These team of members tend to a patient's physical ailments as well as emotional ailments. This team of medical volunteers are keen to the medicine bodhisattvas of the Saha world.
上人很强调嘛仁医。
The master strongly emphasizes the words human and medical. I thought back then, wow, there is such a deep meaning to these two characters.
结合慈善，不只是医疗，这两个一定要并行。
A patient's personality as well as family factors can often affect the rate of deterioration of Parkinson's disease. A Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital neurologist, Guo Qizhong, has been dedicated to giving his patients the best possible treatment. This includes attentive care and home visits as he cares about their living environment to stop the onset of illness.
郭医师，我们今天要去哪里？
今天要去旗山美浓，要去探望我的患者，帕金森病的患者。
2.1公里后，前往右侧匝道至燕城。
郭医师啊，稍等，我还没得留你，你
现在的香蕉是最好吃的啊，这个是要给你的呢。哎呀，这个啊，我看你要来，我有做好演，你来看老边。
他是以前是岐山传奇，
没有了，我爸爸才是传奇。
读了，就只要他们家的香蕉。
没有，
伊就是卡呢。
The son had discovered his father had Parkinson's disease because at first he discovered that his father's walk had changed. This led him to take his father to a doctor.
可是手没有，
他手没有，
他
在抓我的时候很有力量。我姐姐说他走路有点怪怪。
My sister said he walked weirdly. He walked like this at first, and he could go out, but he walked a lot slower. It was like this at first, and then my sister became suspicious. Later, while watching TV, my father saw Dr. Guo talking about the conditions and said, "Let's go to Taichung to see Dr. Guo." I said, "Okay."
The senior, Mr. Guo, already had severe scoliosis coupled with nerve compression. This made a wheelchair necessary. 3 years ago, because of kidney disease, he was too weak for regular visits at the hospital. For 3 years, Dr. Guo Qizhong has been traveling from Taichung to Qisan to visit him.
I told him that if he didn't come to my clinic, I'll go to Qisan to see him. Later, I learned that it really was not convenient for him to come to Taichung, so I went to his home in Qisan.
Guo Qizhong started seeing Mr. Lu when he was still able to do push-ups, and he has been with him all the way to this day, making Mr. Lu's son grateful.
你都不晓得，不会是还有那个一张叮咛的单，那个我把它贴在我爸爸的那个床头那边。我说爸爸，你大家要困的时候，不会是给你写一张，这个不会是等于那里呀。
功课表。
对，这个功课表，真的，我不会骗你，真的。
Exercise can strengthen the muscle tone of patients with Parkinson's disease and slow down the speed of degeneration of joints. Even if he can't be by his side all the time, Guo Qizhong will still find a way to motivate patients.
功课表，请他，
I wrote some homework for him to do some exercise when and for how long according to the time each day. I hope to motivate him to exercise as much as possible. I don't know if I give this personal homework to every patient, but I have done it for a few of them. And sometimes I give them booklets which I ask them to fill in when they do their exercise and bring it back to me on their next visit. I'll then check it like it is their homework.
过来给你看，好，安尼好不好？看哈，好，
我来休困了。
好，乖师，谢谢啊，谢谢，好，麻烦了。
Latin America has been deeply affected by the pandemic, and Argentina is no exception. Tzu Chi was unable to host a large-scale Buddha bathing ceremony, instead opting for a more solemn affair, abiding by government regulations. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.